All right, so looks like we can go and hop into our next game here. It's going to be QiaoGege versus DuGu. So we got a China versus China PVZ for you.
Let's get it. Spawning here in the top right, representing China, eOnzErG, DuGu.
And his opponent here in the bottom right, our blue Protoss player QiaoGege. And do not call him QiaoGege. Okay?
Should we explain to them why?
If you want to, go for it.
Well, let's just say if you pronounce it that way, you could think of him as the penis toss.
Yeah. Yeah, it's his name, Gaga meaning big brother, right, as John pointed out earlier, and GG meaning something entirely different. Yeah, it was funny when I was asking about how to say it. The advice was you can say it a lot of different ways, but just don't say GG, which is funny because that's what almost all of us were saying originally, because, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, just in English, that's just how you would read it, right?
I think I was one of the only casters that never called him that, so I feel slightly special.
That's good.
I'm pretty sure I butchered one of their names though before.
Yeah, we all have, surely. Surely,
Yeah.
surely.
Okay, Forge expand here from QiaoGege. Pretty standard macro stuff and very standard stuff from DuGu as well, just going for like an overpull. About as orthodox as it gets for a PVZ.
He did do the gastric. How do you feel about the gastric? So it's gonna be 9 pull with the gastric into 6 ling here, right?
You know, it might be depending on who you ask. I'm sure there's going to be people that say like, "Oh, you should do that." Like, you'd be silly not to do that. I'm not sure about the exact math on it. Like, you're getting the drone slightly early, but you're paying the price of the cancel on the gas. I don't know how it quite maths out. I'm sure there's situations where it seems like the gastric is better, which is why we see so many people doing for it. I actually don't know.
Wow, that was close. That would have been a disaster if that drone goes down.
Yeah, that's kind of mad. That was super close to being disastrous here for DuGu, but he manages to walk the fine line. And, you know, we forced 2 cannons out from QiaoGege. This is about as safe and standard as you can get. We'll delay that gateway and tech timing ever so slightly without even having to, you know, make more than just like 6 lings. I think that's about as reasonable as it gets. Like, I think the guy with the 6 lings is ever so slightly ahead, as long as he doesn't waste the lings.
Oh, you think the 9 pull is ahead for 6?
It was. Oh wait, it was 9 pull, not overpull, right? So
Yeah.
maybe not quite as head then as I thought.
Yeah, I've always kind of been in the impression it's like a slight lead for Protoss, but the reason Zergs will do this, I guess, is because it creates an unorthodox game state, right? It's like slightly off. And
Yeah.
even though it does put them a little bit behind to like do this on a 2-player map, for instance.
I would also like to retract my previous statement and say if you're going to go for 9 pull 6 ling non-gas, you should gastric.
Okay. I'm with you now.
But yeah, it's not terrible. Like, I think the Protoss is slightly ahead, but at least you got compensation. It's not like you're just plain behind. Is he going for lurkers? I think he's going to do a lurker bust. And he has the option of tricking the lurkers in the back lane as well. You can hit the probes from that back lane just barely. There's one little spot for the lurkers to set up there. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Chinese meta that I wanted to see.
I mean, they play the game different, right?
Yeah.
Like, and Mihu basically invented a new Terran style. Like, it was him that basically pioneered the like 5 factory TVP style, right? Obviously, it's been refined since then, but he was the first innovator of that, like, you know, more army, less tech style.
Ooh, second probe does sneak in here. DuGu going to be pretty desperate to block that. He does actually get the 2 drones out in time. Does see the Hydra though, but this doesn't show that it's lurkers yet. This makes you think it's just a 2-base like Hydra bust, right?
Right. And not 9-1, 9-2 is actually a build. Like 2 hatch Hydra is actually a build.
Yep. to see those cannons coming down, and immediately his probe goes to the backside to start spotting for any sort of a backstabbing coming on from the Zerg here.
Although if QiaoGege is really dialed in, he would notice that the Hydras are a little bit slow for a 2-hatch Hydra, so he might be able to figure out that it's not the Hydra.
Yeah, it does indicate that he might be aware of it, because he only made that 3rd cannon, nothing more than that. So he's not like being hyper, he's not reacting, right? Like, he's not overreacting to what he's seen so far. 2nd Forge is going to come down, and he's definitely taking his time, being very slow and methodical, kind of waiting to get a little bit more information. These Hydras are going to be coming down here on the backside. He's going to be able to spot that. And I wonder if he just uses the lurkers to kill the temples, but this gives a lot of a heads up for QiaoGege to respond.
Yeah, especially with the probe spotting it right off the bat. He's actually just going to show the Hydras right away. He's going to make the lurker eggs right next to it so he can glitch them across, because obviously the lurkers are bigger than the Hydras. So if he spam clicks as they hatch, he can probably glitch the majority of them over right away.
I'd love to see pylons come down, by the way, to actually trap them.
To force them to have to kill them, yeah.
Yeah, you can build 2 pylons here if you want to buy the extra time to force them so that they can hop the... Okay, I think that's what we're going to see.
Is it 2 pylons? I think it's 3.
Okay, it's going to be 3. I thought maybe it's 2 if he used the thing, but yeah, he's going to build these pylons to block. Really smart play, but he can also burrow trick over this potentially if he wanted to, or he might just focus it down, yeah.
It's a little bit finicky to lurker trick in this situation. I think it's better just to gun down the pylon.
And we're getting a pylon there on the high ground. They're from gonna build some gateways. Yeah.
This is crazy.
Whatever he can to buy time.
He's gonna now lurker trick, I think. Oh no, he's not. He's just gonna go for it. This is crazy.
How close are we for the cannon? Okay, it's finishing up. Okay.
I'm actually really surprised that he arm-burrowed and targeted the pylon a little bit. Like, he probably should just slowed him down a lot. He should just killed the gate.
So the lurkers can hit the mineral line from across here. Okay, yeah, so you see that lurker is going to go over there, and it can actually shell the minerals here as well. Super annoying to deal with.
Yeah, you can mine from, like, 2 patches on the top left, but and technically the 3rd patch from above, but all the other patches are more or less denied except the one on the far right. It's super annoying. I'm kind of
surprised he didn't want to build cannons here. I guess he just wants to make goons and just fight these lurkers instead. Doesn't want to spend much money on static here. And he is rushing for that observatory. So I guess he's just going to make the goons and try to break this instead.
Yeah, this is not the way that DuGu wanted this to go. But he's got some continuations. You know, he's got the 3rd base. He's kind of transitioning a little bit. And he's denying some mining time. So he's, getting some compensation here.
Yeah, a little bit, but definitely not enough so far for the commitment that he's put into it. He's going to start to run these lurkers away, and, this lurker's been chipping away at this, basically the escape route for these lurkers, but it's not going to be done in time.
Yeah, these are some dead lurkers, unfortunately, and he's not even going to get the pylon. So yeah, pretty amazing hold here from QiaoGege. Really stellar stuff. He might get that stasis cell eventually. Might have to reposition the lurker though.
And here comes the Muta swap. This feels like a ladder game where it's like, okay, I stopped at this cheese. Which cheese is next, right? Like.
Yeah, if you want to be a really good cheesy player, you want like multifaceted cheese, right? You want to give them like the triple cheese supreme.
Yeah, I feel like Light would have been a really good Zerg player. Light from Death Note.
There's nothing in the main besides 2 Corsairs, so maybe this actually works. He's not even making a Corsair, so actually he might be able to kill him still. I don't think he anticipated this. I don't think he anticipated this. He has got Dragoons, but Dragoons are not that good against Mutas.
Yeah, Dragoons and Reavers, unfortunately, right? Like, Reaver pops out as the Mutas are coming here. He does have the 1 Corsair with these goons, and actually gonna get a decent bit of damage, and DuGu just gonna fly out of there, not finding any pro damage. I'm really surprised he didn't kill at least a fair amount of probes before leaving.
I'm surprised he didn't do anything. Like, I think you either kill the Corsair or some probes. I don't think you do nothing and run out, but it is what it is. You're going to rotate to the natural, start pressuring the probe count there, but he's in the same situation. There's some Dragoons and a Corsair here. Some Scourge now to help out, zone out that Corsair, but he's not finding loads of damage. I feel like he's losing a lot of his tempo right now.
Yeah, it really felt like he had a chance to kind of get a little bit done here. Like you said, either diving on this air or the probes, but finding pretty minimal damage. I mean, he is evened up on the workers right now. He has made the game very weird, if nothing else.
I guess he preserves a very healthy count of mutas, but I almost felt like free volleying the Sair and then killing some probes on the exit was the play. It does like lose a lot of damage onto those mutas, but I think you kind of need to do damage because if he knows about the mutas, you're not going to get hardly any value with them from here on out.
Yeah, that's part of the issue, right? Like they've lost their surprise factor.
Yeah.
And once Protoss kind of prepares for it, then it's like, how useful are these mutas going to be? They could be used for Templar sniping, but is QiaoGege even making Templar? Like,
I don't think so. I think he's going Reaver Goon. He's in like Sair Reaver essentially, but in a bit of a weird fashion. Bit of a weird game we got here, Ozzy. He's going to catch one of these Corsairs, lower it down to a healthy count. If he kill like one or two of these Sairs, that's going to be pretty huge. He does get one of them. Now we can pressure the main again, but there are now 2 cannons to contend with. So he can just jump onto those since he's got, 10 mutas. He can more or less afford to do that if there's no Corsairs, but he will be counter-attacked. There's a pretty sizable infantry force at his door waiting to get all of his units together. And with a shuttle and 2 Reavers, he can just start breaking through these Sunkens and Lurkers like it's made out of a flimsy house made of twigs or something.
Yeah, the defensive setup looks great for DuGu, but these 2 Reavers kind of ruin that, although they're moving in pretty deep, taking a lot of damage even from the Sunkens. But yeah, he's going to break this position with the Reavers, and Muta's going to come back to try and help. There's still the 2 Sair here with all these goons, so the Muta's probably not going to be able to find a lot of damage. It's going to dive on top of the Reaver, does kill one. It's going to target down the second one. Reinforcements coming from the backside. We didn't pick that Reaver up with the shuttle either, and DuGu kind of, sort of holding on, but yeah, not really.
No, like, yeah, this was like 3 Little Pigs, but it was like the house made out of twigs, unfortunately. Yeah, no bricks this time around, Ozzy, unfortunately. With the Reavers there, there's just no way of holding on. Like, your only hope is sniping the shuttle before it even unloads the Reavers, and that's probably never going to happen. I think it was a bit of a missed trick from DuGu to not put the punish on with those mutas earlier, but it is what it is. He's kind of playing from behind with the failed lurker tech anyway, so we can't expect too much of him.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. He didn't really find much damage with the initial lurkers, got a little bit, and like I said, he seems to be one of those players that just wants to make the game weird. Like, to me, a big indicator that anytime someone goes 9-pool on a 2-player map, that just shows that they just want the game to be unorthodox, whatever it takes.
Right, yeah, but this is pretty much over. He's taken too much damage. Like, there's technically a way for him to not die, but even if he doesn't die, he's still pretty far behind.
Yeah. Yeah. Natural down, more reinforcements coming in from QiaoGege, and this is kind of the how much do I have to kill you before you leave moment.
Well, there's the GG. And a much-deserved win, I would say, for QiaoGege. He handled that with finesse. Like, everything was pretty picture perfect. The only thing which looked scary was the muta timing in the main, where he only had a couple of one Corsair, and he just didn't get punished for that either. So yeah, went like a dream for him.
Yeah, his reactions were actually pretty much perfect. I think he did a great job buying himself time with this probe, right? And getting his defense set up. Didn't really take any losses. Decided to skip the cannon to protect his mineral line and wanted to rely more on just killing the lurkers and focusing on armies so he could push out more. So yeah, I kind of like the way he handled all this. Like I said, the mutas potentially could have caught him off guard, but didn't take any damage from that. And I think we can go ahead and jump into the second game here. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, let's get it. Spawning down here in the bottom right on Protoss, QiaoGege.
And his opponent cross spawns. We have our Zerg player DuGu.
This is Polestar, I believe. Yeah, and cross maps. Hopefully we'll see a slightly better macro game out of these two. You can't really go 2-hatch lurker on maps like this and expect to do nearly as well. And after it went that badly, I doubt he's going to try it again. You can try and lurker bust the natural, but it's just not strong in these cross-spawn positions on macro maps like this.
Yeah, you know what? Based on that first game, DuGu strikes me as the kind of guy that will hide a hatchery in a main base somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I'm just putting that out there so that if he does do something like that, it makes me look like a genius.
Yeah, and if you're wrong, it doesn't really mean much either. So you've got like nothing but net, nothing to gain.
Exactly.
Nothing but gains.
Okay, gonna be a gate expand.
That's different.
QiaoGege this time. Man, yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. If I played a Zerg like that, the last thing I would think is that I want to gate expand. Like Forge expand is just such a good defensive play.
Right. Well, if he wants to be super aggressive, 2-hatch Hydra is actually viable against Gateway Expand. You kind of go 3-hatch Hydra against Forge and 2-hatch Hydra against Gateway if you want to be hyper aggressive.
Yeah.
You get like 12 Lings out early on to deal with the Zealot pressure, and it also has the doubled up effect of denying scouting so they don't know that you're going for 2-hatch Hydra. And you hit them very early on with those Hydras, and they haven't got that many cannons to defend against it.
Yeah, that would make sense. And we did... Was it just overpull this time? Looked like it was overpull.
I think so. Yeah, I misread it in game number 1, but I'm pretty darn certain that's overpull in this game.
Yeah. So much more normal opening here for DuGu.
Yeah. Should be a much more standard game. I doubt DuGu's going to do anything too crazy, and he's kind of forced to make Lings against this Gateway Expand, but he also doesn't know about the Gateway Expand just yet.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's not drone scouting early, he's made 4 Zerglings preemptively. This isn't just to kill the probe, this is to not take crippling damage to the Zealot that could be coming your way. So he's going to see that soon with his second Overlord, actually.
Yeah, nice to get that confirmation, so he can either queue up a couple Lings or bring these back home to 5v1, so he was going to queue up some more Lings. And main thing for QiaoGege is he just wants to try to target the Zealot potentially somewhere, maybe interrupt the mining just a little bit, get it to fight with a probe here. And yeah, we're going to see the Zealot probe block here, which is pretty standard in defend with the Zealot that comes out.
Yeah, this is pretty standard stuff. It's like the mini game that everyone's playing. If you're sending out the first Zealot early like this, you kind of have to anticipate a Ling run by and wait for the third Zealot to pop. The only thing different is that there's actually not a lot of pressure on QiaoGege. These Lings were running around the map trying to scout out a possible Zealot, so there actually is no pressure at all until now.
And do you see that third base location? What do you think? Are we getting Turtle Zerg this time?
It does look like that, doesn't it? Like when you take a natural... This seems standard against Terran, because it feels nicer to have the option of defending with Sunkens and Lurkers in this position and getting an easy 4th gas. But against Protoss, it almost always indicates some kind of Turtle Zerg setup.
Yeah, Zero might be happy. I think Zero plays this style a lot in ZVP.
Yeah, I think he plays it a little bit. I mean, Lava was one of the guys that made this way more popular than it used to be. It's a very strong style if you like to play more macro-centric and want to kind of circumnavigate having to do a lot of the mid-game shenanigans against the Protoss, who usually are so strong in that mid-game. So you're trying to like circumnavigate that and leapfrog them and go straight into a late game as soon as possible. But you can still get broken. It's not like it's impenetrable.
Yeah. The way I like to see, and I'm curious to see, how this game unfolds and if we get to see some of it, but what I've seen that I became a fan of against this style is just using the goons to like shell down the hatcheries or whatever's like blocking for the Sunkens, right? Because just killing the hatcheries that are usually a part of the wall when they do a turtle style is actually pretty crazy damage.
Right. He's actually doing some 3-hatch Hydra pressure to start things off.
Yeah.
I don't usually like doing this against Gate Expand if you haven't caught any of the Zealots. Like, if they got all the Zealots back home safe, I just don't think, like, especially cross-map, it's as strong of a timing. I feel like you only should be going 3-hatch Hydra when you've, like, killed, like, 2 Zealots at least or something right off the bat.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The Zealots are moving across the map, so it's going to get some pressure on. He also is showing lane speed here, which is usually not indicative of a Hydra bust. has he scouted it yet? He hasn't, right?
I don't think so. And he's not actually putting on pressure with these zealots. He's just kind of like seeing if he can force some lings or something. So maybe this Hydra bus can still work, just because he's been quite passive with the movements of the zealots. Like, he could have come out onto the map with 5 right off the bat and gotten all the way to the Zerg's natural and seen the Hydras pop out, but he hasn't done that.
Yeah, these zealots almost played the role of what the Corsair is supposed to, right? But the Corsair is a little bit later because of the way he did this build. So it's almost like he was maybe checking for the Hydras, but unfortunately he's going to miss it. The second cannon only just now coming down. There is only a few Hydras out, so it's not super scary, and the zealot count is pretty high right now to buffer.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going to be coming out now, and he's going to see these Hydras soon. But is it going to be too late for the cannons? That's the question. Like, DuGu doing such a good job of hiding these Hydras as long as possible.
He's done a fantastic job. He now sees it. Might be too late, though. Let's see. There's quite a few Hydras already nearby the natural expansion area. Only one cannon in front can get pounced upon pretty quickly, and then you can also kind of use the Protoss wall against them once that first cannon is down.
Yeah, we might see a bunch of drones behind us now. He's taking a 4th hatch in the top right and another hatch actually in the natural of top right, so I think he's preparing for a potential late gaming here. So I think this is going to be kind of a light pressure, and yeah, we see his drone count going up behind us. So this is basically all he plans on making for units, and the rest is going to be drone, drone, drone.
Yeah, I actually really like this from DuGu, man. This is super smart. Like, he's kind of found the perfect middle ground where he's making enough Hydras to force QiaoGege to really respect it and throw down additional cannons. His extra zealot count doesn't mean anything anymore because of how many Hydras are threatening the natural, but he's actually playing macro behind it. I think this is like the perfect tightrope walking from the Zerg.
Yeah, +1 is going to finish for... He preemptively made that extra forge down there, like... He did that really early, no? Because it just finished the +1.
Yeah, he must have anticipated some shenanigans like this.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how much he... Oh, a Cybercoin wall. Okay, that makes sense. My bad, I'm not paying the most attention.
No worries. And the gateways are, I think, delayed enough where this is still really good for DuGu. Like, he can kind of soft contain until Storm is ready.
He's actually making more Hydras now out of those extra hatcheries instead. So he kind of did this, like, pressure into a few drones back into Hydras to contain, like you said.
Yeah.
Or maybe to kill.
Okay, well, I guess he thinks there's not enough cannons being made. With a probe drill, this is still scary, though, and there's enough zealots with leg enhancements to tank, so I don't think he should be doing this, for the record. It's not bad, because you can still kill probes when they drill, but I would have much rather him just soft contain into drones.
Yeah, he's bleeding off a lot of the Hydras now as Storm is coming out, but did at least reduce some of the zealot count if you want to look on the bright side. But I kind of agree with you. I don't think that was actually that great for DuGu. Would have loved him just committing to the army and containing.
Well, not with that many zealots alive. Like, this is totally different if there's not that many zealots. But with the zealots and the probe drill, you're probably not breaking that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, right, about doing this against the Gate Expand. There's so many zealots to buffer for your cannons. Is also finding quite a few overlords here. Gonna kill 2 and potentially 2 more here as well. So it's gonna be kind of a nasty supply block for DuGu.
Yeah, that's pretty deadly, man. Like, he's not even got enough minerals to claw his way out of that hole for a while. He's now not going to be pretty much producing anything.
Yeah, we see the static defense coming down now, so I expect he's going to not try to hold the front for too long. I mean, he'll sit out there, obviously, because you can't just retreat, right? But you got to be a little bit careful with the storms coming out.
Yeah, ideally, you just want to bait the storms and just storm dodge back, right? You don't want to actually fight or anything. You want to try and maybe get rid of 1 or 2 storms before you fall back, because you don't want too many storms at your door when you're playing Turtle like this. He's actually doing a really good job of catching these Hydras with just Zealots, and yeah, QiaoGege playing like a god right now.
Yeah, he's been playing really great so far this whole tournament. I mean, he hasn't dropped a game yet. 2-0 over Dewalt, looking good in this game as well. Potential 2-0 incoming for QiaoGege. Of course, the game's pretty far from over, right? Because we do have those 4 bases done for DuGu, and we're probably going to be setting up for more of that turtle style. Like I said, we saw the seconds coming down, so this could be a bit of a long game.
Yeah, the one thing going for DuGu is that the Zealots aren't as big of an active threat on the map when you know you're going to play Turtle anyway, and you've got some Sunkens at either location, so at least he won't be that threatened by this. But I really like what QiaoGege's doing. Like, he's kind of hedging his bets. He's got a Dark Archon just in case there's a muta switch. I don't think he's fully identified the possibility of a full-on Turtle-Zerg transition. I think he knows that so many units have been produced by DuGu that the economy of the Zerg won't be that strong right now.
Yeah, the plus for DuGu is that he's not having to make a whole lot of Sunkens so far, because a lot of the Zealots did actually get cleaned up, and we actually have these mutas coming out. We do have the Dark Archon, though. But like you said, the Zealots really aren't the threat against this style. It's the big goon ball with the Storms.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it basically, like, Dragoons become siege tanks in this matchup, especially in this situation. So as soon as the Protoss gets up to like 2 control groups of goons, with the Storm support, with a few Zealots to buffer, then it becomes scary. But you need to get quite a lot of Dragoons out first. And he's only got 5 mutas, so I like that. He's not overly committing into the mutas. He can kill some probes and maybe bait out this Maelstrom if he does fully commit to that. It's not terrible to lose 5 mutas compared to like 10. It's way worse.
Yeah, it's basically just a probe killing force and not really much else.
Yeah,
we'll find the goons here. Move across the map. No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you can sometimes still kill the High Templars if you catch them out of position with the 5 mutas, but I like the low commitment. I like that he's not trying to go for a massive muta flock right now, and he is focused on just getting a strong economy. Finally got that Queen's Nest going online. I would say the Queen's Nest is a little bit late, but it's still not terrible. And he is going to Maelstrom combo down those mutas there. For some reason, the speed of the game just went up for a split second.
Tell me Zero's not a Zerg player, by the way, where he wants to fast forward through all the mutas getting Maelstrom.
Yeah, it's too painful for him to watch, man. Pretty big force coming from QiaoGege up to here in the top right, and if the Storm gets up there uncontested, you're gonna have a bad day. He's got some lurkers about to pop out and 4 Sunkens. That's about the minimum threshold to hold something like this, but you can still lose the hatchery on the periphery, and you're gonna need to make more and more Sunkens to not die.
Yeah, this is kind of the part that I was talking about, where you can just shell these hatcheries down with the goons, and you can probably do some on the left side as well, potentially. Because if there's nothing protecting those Sunkens, you can kind of just run in and kill them, right? So you do this to kill a bunch of the buildings, and they have to respect it and drop more Sunkens. So this is pretty decent damage that you can get essentially for free against this style.
Yeah, no, this is good. If he kills the Evo that's making an upgrade, that's going to be huge as well. QiaoGege taking a 3rd base at the 3 o'clock location, just so he doesn't have to be all in with this attack. It's pretty aggressive from him, but he can kind of be aggressive for free against this style. He's not really having to commit a lot to do this. And yeah, there's a lurker being annoying at the 3 o'clock, hoping to catch some probes, but I doubt it will be too successful.
Yeah, and you see there on the natural, right? That's another hatchery that can get picked off. It's just kind of natural, or like normal for this style. And a common mistake that a lot of Protoss players when they play against this make is that they try to mass expand in response, and it's actually not good to let Zerg just sit there and do what they want to get the late game for free.
No, you should definitely put on pressure, because like the Zerg are so weak when you've got Storm on top of their bases like this and loads of Dragoons to shell them. They kind of have to have lurkers out in front like this, and you can see how easy it is for the Protoss to mop that up. And there's not a lot that DuGu can do about this. He's just going to have to eat it. And unfortunately, I think he's going to start losing a little bit too much. He might actually just die.
Yeah, this is really big losses. He has a little bit of a counterattack going down to 3 o'clock to try and deny that, but his natural's going to be going down. I love, too, that when QiaoGege came in here, he stormed the larva right away to stop him from being able to use the larva, because he's killed the hatchery in the top right, and he's killing the larva here, and it's just the amount of production that DuGu is able to muster is very light right now. This is it's pretty much a perfect timing. It's right before DuGu is ready to start massing like the high-tech army.
And he doesn't have the Nidus Canal set up critically as well, so it's really hard for him to actually get his army all in one place fighting as one. He's finally starting to put down that Nidus now, but it might be a little bit late. QiaoGege just trading out too cost efficiently for the time being. There is a way of Zerg clawing their way back in. Like, he didn't actually lose his natural hatchery. He lost some drones, but he's actually pulling QiaoGege around the map a little bit because there's a big counterattack at the 3 o'clock base. There's a chance this could kill the base, especially if he like puts 3 lurker eggs on the ramp here. But yeah, this isn't bad. I mean, killing the 3rd base would be really huge right now for DuGu.
This is actually great for DuGu. We're gonna get the Dark Archon as well, and the Nexus is gonna go down. And like you said, his natural didn't die. He still has access to all 4 bases, and QiaoGege is going to be running very low on minerals right now for his mining. Yeah, the main's mined out. The natural's not too far behind that, so losing this base is pretty devastating.
Oh, it really is. And he's going to be online with his Hive Tech soon. Defilemound's just about to finish. Nidus Canal getting connected up. The fact that he didn't kill that hatchery in the top left and still lost his 3rd base. Now, I would say DuGu is in a fantastic position. You know, he just has to find any kind of cost-efficient trades. As long as he doesn't just bleed all of his units away for free, he should be in a fantastic position.
Yeah, absolutely. But now the game state, like this is kind of similar to what we saw with Crossy versus Dewalt when Crossy's not at 3rd. It buys him a lot of breathing room now, where QiaoGege can't commit to killing him anymore. He's going to be trying to catch back up, which is going to allow DuGu to get into the game state that he wants, exactly the way he wants it.
And critically, he can't produce out of all gateways. Like, he can't just make non-stop Dragoons out of all of the gateways anymore because he's only mining 1 base. So now there's no more steam left in the engine of QiaoGege. He kind of just has to sit back and try and establish expansions. And that means the Zerg's going to get online in a big way. We've got cracklings now. He's going to keep throwing out small counterattacks. Very minimal investment just to kind of weaken these positions for follow-up attacks later on. And it's going to be a little bit of a death by 1,000 cuts going forward, but he's doing exactly what he needs to do. Like, this is really going to stop the Protoss player coming back in the game.
Yeah, this is actually really nice from DuGu what he's doing here, because like you said, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Like, yeah, we sent 6 lings to 3 o'clock, and you might think, oh, he killed 1 cannon, 1 probe, canceled another cannon, but look at QiaoGege's income right now. Like, that like 300-ish minerals that he just lost is actually pretty devastating, while DuGu is super healthy back at home.
Yeah, I mean, he's producing hardly any units because of it, right? Like, he's building Nexuses and cannons, which means he's got almost next to no unit production. And now we've got a Zerg with way more drones than probes, and even now starting to become more army supply. This is going to get really out of hand soon here for QiaoGege, especially once Plague is online. Basically, the Zerg is just stalling for Plague to come online, and then they're going to find those cost-efficient trades at long last.
Yeah, these lings continue to deny this base, and we see another base come down at 12 o'clock here for DuGu, and he's kind of in that game state where he can expand and not really have to worry about counterattacks anymore, because QiaoGege is just stuck on his side of the map trying to get enough eco to start to remuster an army so he can join the fight again.
I really love how DuGu's navigated this. Like, it went from being almost certain death to I'm in a fantastic position. I don't even know how he managed it, but he has.
Yeah, he was very close to... I mean, he did get broken, right? It was just this counterattack, like, really caught QiaoGege unprepared, which, I'll be honest, is a little bit surprising, because that was kind of DuGu's only play at that stage of the game. But
I almost feel like he should have... I almost feel like he should have sacked the 3rd and just gone for a kill move and killed the natural in the main. And then I don't think that DuGu can recover after that.
I'm actually kind of with you on that one. I think killing the natural and the main and making him rebuild all of his tech all over again, like, it would have kind of flipped. Basically, the game state we ended up in for QiaoGege would have been reversed, right? Where it would have been DuGu kind of playing recovery and getting back online again, while QiaoGege could expand and do what he wanted.
He would have gotten up to 4 bases a lot easier after the fact, even if he did sacrifice the 3rd. He lost it anyway, even though he defended, so yeah, I think it would have worked out a lot better for him. And now we're just going to have a Sauron Zerg style from DuGu, where he's just got more units than he knows what to do with. Yeah, this is going to be... I don't even know how you play it out from here as Protoss, to be honest with you. Like, there's no real attack options, it feels like. Like, maybe you can get into Reavers and slowly, like, value your way back into the game. But once Zerg gets to this stage, it feels like their army never stops coming. Yeah, you kind of have to go multiple Robo Reaver, because there's going to be Dark Swarms to shut down the cannons and the Dragoons. It's actually a pretty nice storm and all the bunched up lurkers, and a pretty beautiful Plague to follow it up. But yeah, you basically have to go split map Reavers in situations like this, but it's going to be so hard to actually split the map to begin with.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to a lot of those TVPs where like you'll have a game where the game flowed in a way where it just kind of sucks, and your win condition is now 45 minutes later than you wanted it to be, right? Where it's like, if I win this game, it's going to be 45 minutes from now, or I can just give up. Like
Well,
that's
yeah, at least 25 minutes from now. It's a long time coming, right? Unfortunately, and he doesn't actually. DuGu doesn't have to commit that much forces to attack. Like one defiler, a few lings, some lurkers is all that he needs to start forcing bad trades here from QiaoGege and start launching assaults on these bases. You can get a few good storms on these lurkers to try and close out, but no matter what happens, DuGu is going to be ahead. As long as he's killing something with these attacks, he's going to be feeling fantastic.
Yeah, anytime you're in a game state where any trade is a good trade is a really good feeling, and that is where DuGu has kind of found himself in this game now. He's able to take bases as he wants, and he can just continue to stream units. I mean, you see it on the mini-map, right? It's just constant. We do this big defiler push here with our lurkers, and then we start setting up out here, and this is kind of what I meant. It just never really stops at this point.
Yeah, it's like a head-body situation where you start punching their head, they bring their arms up to defend their head, then you start hitting the body again. So he's like hit the 4th base, and now he's rotated over to the 3rd base, which wasn't being covered properly. And he's just going to keep rinsing and repeating this. He's going to counter-attack the 4th just as he starts coming up here to clear out the 3rd.
I love the storm on the defiler. I don't know if you ever heard, there was like a discussion that, if you can call it a discussion, that Tasteless and Artosis were having about storming Defiler and how pointless it is, but here we see the storm was actually killing the Defiler, so Tasteless was right all along.
Wait, no, wasn't it that Tasteless said that him storming the Defiler was a mistake and he wasn't trying to do that because you wouldn't try and storm a Defiler? And Artosis said that you would do that, you would definitely storm the Defiler.
Oh, okay, maybe I had it backwards then.
I think so, yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, we got more drones than probes, and about even in terms of army supply. Relatively speaking, it's not terrible for Zerg to play like this, and he's gonna keep taking more bases. And as long as Protoss is stuck on 4 base, this is gonna be a very slow death.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, QiaoGege is trading as well as you could hope for, right? He's holding on, he's trading out a lot, but you know, like I mentioned, DuGu just keeps growing on the other side. He's gonna keep throwing army at you, and eventually QiaoGege is going to run out of steam if he doesn't find a way to get more bases or trade even more efficiently.
Yeah, it does certainly seem that way. And every loss starts to become painful for QiaoGege because he has to kind of trade at like a 65-70% efficiency rating to stay ahead, and he's struggling to do that, especially with the plagues.
Yeah, plagues are nice because it's just permanent guaranteed damage that, you know, it just makes the army so squishy. You get a bunch of plague on a bunch of zealots, and they become completely worthless. They're like worse than the lings at that point.
Yeah, there's a bit of a misconception with Hive Tech PvZ. A lot of people think it's the cracklings that are making the difference. The cracklings come online with the plague, right? Like you kind of enable the lings to do what they need to do, either dark swarms for the cannons positions or the plague for the units.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, plaguing a bunch of cannons, and then, you know, plaguing even the Reavers, right, where it just takes a couple Hydras to get on top of them and they suddenly evaporate. Because a large part of it is that Protoss isn't getting shield upgrades either, so they're extra squishy. You get that plague and that shield HP evaporates, plus it also takes full damage from pretty much everything anyway.
Yeah, there's no damage mitigation on those shields, pretty much. So, you're essentially doing true damage to the units and not having to do much at all because most of their HP is in the HP, not the shields. Templars are one of the only exceptions to that, as well as probes, where they have the same amount of HP as they do shields. But pretty much every other unit has way more HP than shields. Yeah.
And he's going to get in there, going to pick off that Reaver, and we're starting to see DuGu take a supply lead now as he just continues to lean on QiaoGege. It's just one of those game states where it's like you're fighting and fighting, but as the Protoss, you know it's not going to get any better, right? You know it's actually getting worse. He's got a 9 o'clock, he sees, I think he's got a Zealot or something over there right now, and it's just, you know, Zerg's growing behind this. They're not, you know you're not getting a lead by getting these good fights.
Yeah, he's stagnating, whereas the Zerg is growing. And this is like StarCraft 101. You want to apply pressure while you're growing. So this is about as good as it gets here for DuGu. It's basically just a Sauron Zerg-esque style where you're just running it down from your rally points while you're continuing to grow, and you're just not allowing the opponent to ever take any additional bases. Like, the only real hope of QiaoGege winning this is if DuGu makes big mistakes and bleeds off a lot of units, or if somehow QiaoGege can keep getting more bases, turn into a split map with lots of Reavers, and that's a long way coming.
Yeah, it's super hard because it's like, what do you expand to, right? Like, you look at this and you would say 6 o'clock, but it's so incredibly hard to expand to 6 and protect 3 at the same time. It's almost like by expanding, you're conceding 3, and that's why you guys aren't seeing him take 6 o'clock, because if he takes 6, he loses the space.
He's barely hanging on with only having to cover 2 locations, much less 3. So yeah, it's kind of to be expected that he's not going for it just yet. He might try and go for it once the third base is pretty close to mined out and he doesn't need to defend it so vitriolically, but at the moment he kind of has to play like this.
Yeah, I mean, he is holding on for whatever it's worth. And 9 o'clock's not mining yet. He is going to be mining out on these 4 bases, so he's about to be down to 3 base mining is DuGu. And we actually see QiaoGege kind of retaking a supply lead. Oh, he killed 9. Was that with a DT, I guess? Might have been a DT.
Maybe. There is a DT out, but it's not got any kills on it.
Yeah, I saw something go over there earlier. I thought it was a Zealot, but it might have actually been a DT then. And can he continue to hold these bases? I mean, it's not. He's not gonna win, right? Like,
there's a chance that DuGu makes big mistakes though, because now that the Protoss is coming out, maybe he kind of like has a hard time getting all of his army together, and like the lurkers clump up, and you start storming them into oblivion. There is definitely a way you can counterattack and win as Protoss if the Zerg gets complacent and they think they're in such a winning position they don't even need to like try that hard. It does happen. So yeah, we'll see if he can do a lot with his counterattack. He has got a lot of storm available to him. He might be able to break 12 at the very least. But there's so many units streaming out from the Zerg, you have to wonder if this is even possible to turn into a win. He's even catching a lot of these high Templars in transit. Oh my gosh.
It's a lot of Templar going down actually, but it looks like he is breaking through this base. He's gonna kill this. I mean, if he kills this and pivots to this base after, then suddenly DuGu's broke. He's going through a counterattack here on the bottom base of QiaoGege, but there's still Zealot Cannon Storm here that's gonna hold on.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of doomsaying this entire game, and now I'm starting to wonder if I'm wrong here.
Well, I think, like I said, there's definitely a chance for this counterattack to work. It's very common where sometimes you can be a victim of success in StarCraft, where it's easier to play from behind because it's more obvious what you should be doing. When you're this far ahead, you tend to, like, you know, drop the ball or let a few of the spinning plates come crashing down because you're not playing with the same sense of urgency, which is one of the reasons that this attack is working so well for QiaoGege, is because DuGu didn't even consider the possibility that he would even be able to come across the map and do this.
Yeah, I mean, DuGu's broke. He's on basically 2 base mining. This is still a very healthy base down here for QiaoGege, and now he's in a position where he can actually expand to 6 o'clock.
This is crazy, man. He actually might turn this game around. It's going to take him a long time to guarantee the win, but this is the start of it, right? Like, he's done the heavy lifting of killing those 2 bases, putting the Zerg back on the back foot. Just 2 bases are mining for the Zerg. His third is about to be mined out, but it's going to be online long enough to get that 6 o'clock without too much problems.
Ooh, catching these 2 high-energy Defiler as well in transition, and there's just 3 Sunkens and a handful of Lings here to defend. We see a bunch of army coming out of the top right. We're going to see where DuGu wants to go with that, but he can't really afford to let this base die, but I also don't think he can defend it. Yeah, he's going to pivot and maybe go for a counterattack, but
wow.
QiaoGege set up pretty well at home, and guys, he's done it. He defended on 4 base for like 10 to 15 minutes. And he's actually, yeah, he's fine. He's fine here. This is crazy.
This is beyond crazy, man. This is like, I can imagine DuGu being so mad about this game and just like thinking Protoss is super overpowered. Like, how good do I have to play to kill this guy?
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, it's like you said, like maybe they're getting a little bit complacent with some of the fighting,
Mhm.
but in his defense, I mean, me here as the observer, I thought it was completely fine too. Like I was saying, I was calling the game over for about 10 minutes straight, and
Yeah.
now
I
I'm
mean,
eating my word.
I knew there was definitely the opportunity to go for a counterattack and actually get a win condition out of it. I've seen it happen so many times. I've had it happen to me plenty of times. You just don't play with the same like speedrunner mentality when you're this far ahead, right? Like you're gonna drop the ball somewhere. It might take like 10 minutes for it to happen, but eventually you're gonna get a little bit complacent and there's gonna be a window of opportunity for the Protoss.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. He's trying to retake this 12 o'clock base with a bunch of lurkers, and nice plague there on the units as well, but he's just down to 67 supply and he's barely mining anymore.
All these drones are gonna die as well, man. Ooh. This is crazy. Like, he's not even expanded to a 5th base. He's just trying to make do with what he's got, since the 3rd base still has a little bit of minutes left in it. But it will be drying up soon. Ooh, the Reavers! This game is crazy.
Pretty wild. One of the kind of cooler comebacks I've seen. It's weird. When I'm watching it, it's like, if I'm in this situation as QiaoGege, I feel like I have to expand, but he really kind of understood that he could just hold on these 4 bases and keep defending, keep defending, keep defending. He killed that hatchery at 9, which slowed down his growth quite a bit in his production, and just finding that little bit of a kill there to kind of slow DuGu down and just keep trading and building up the high-tech army that he wanted.
It's a similar mindset as you have in TVZ, where you're kind of like laying siege to the Zerg for like prolonged periods, and you're waiting for that one opportunity, like where they like forget to make a defiler one time, or the Dark Swarm doesn't go down just before the defiler dies to irradiate that one time, and then you break them, right? It's kind of a similar mentality where you're just kind of staying in the game, hanging on strong, waiting for your one opportunity, and he managed to find it.
Yeah, he did. It was very good, very well played, very patient. That was kind of the big thing, is how patient he was during all the fighting and everything, right? And now we just see he's enjoying a nice 120 supply lead. I know some people don't like that I talk about the supply as often as I do, but I think in this case I can reference the supply to say that he has a massive lead.
Yeah, no, he definitely does, and there's no opportunity to deny the base going up at 6 o'clock. So yeah, he's going to maintain 2 base mining pretty much the entire game from this point onwards, it seems. Not really a lot the Zerg can do about it. The Zerg kind of has to just turtle up because they can't be aggressive anymore. Like maybe a few lings around the map, but they can't really commit units that inefficiently anymore. Like he has to trade in a similar fashion that QiaoGege was doing before, and that's really hard for a Zerg to do.
Yeah, it is. And that's actually something you just said kind of reminded me that he's maintaining 2 base mining, and you actually hear that quite often, that in PvZ, all you really need is 2 base mining as Protoss, right? So it's actually a really good kind of thing you pointed out there, and QiaoGege really showing us just how true that is, right? No matter how big Zerg was getting, he just stayed on that 2 base mining at all times throughout the game.
Yeah, the way I see PvZ is like, if the Protoss can always replace an expansion, they're never dead. Because as soon as they get one more base, it's like, okay, the game goes on for another 10-20 minutes, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you can actually physically kill them.
Yeah.
I think it's a similar mindset to TVP, by the way. You know, like you feel like if I got 2 bases mining, as long as it's not carriers, I'm happy.
Either 2 bases mining or 3/3 upgrades and no mining. We feel like the game is winnable.
Yeah.
That's why we don't leave no matter how dead we are. We'll have like 4 tanks, the enemy's max, we have 0 bases, and we're like, but I do have 3/3. I might can win a fight here.
Yeah, free Terran, pretty strong apparently.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like QiaoGege getting a tiny bit impatient, wants to see if he can find some better trades, but these plagues are pretty nice here from DuGu as well. The Zerg kind of needs to expand, and he just won't be able to for quite a long time, and he can start storm dropping as well now. That's going to be a little bit annoying to deal with. The Zealot stealing, withdrawing the fire of the Lurkers while the Templars get some damage. Now he's actually trying to run it down on those Sunkens on the right. I don't agree with that. He shouldn't be trying to trade units for static defense right now. Luckily he didn't lose too much.
And the base up there really doesn't even matter anymore, right? Like, there's no reason to need to break it.
No, you just need to expand and deny expansions. That's pretty much all you need to do as Protoss in this situation.
Yeah, big denial on those 2 mineral patches that is going to devastate DuGu's economy.
And we will be getting that split map situation from QiaoGege, but in a time where he doesn't even need to. So his lead is going to be compounded by many factors.
Yeah, that's also kind of similar to TVP, where it's like split map is winning for TVP or for Terran, but you never actually get to the split map part. Like, you're never really mining the full half the map like Protoss. It's more just the idea of getting the split map as the win, because typically you don't even touch that last base and you've won.
Yeah, yeah. If they allow you to set up that other corner of the map uncontested, unless they've got like mass recalls going off left, right, and center, you'll eventually just out-trade them.
Pretty much. And yeah, this game is secured. I know before I was kind of calling the game maybe a little preemptively. I'm a little more confident saying this one's over.
Are you sure, Ozzy? Are you sure it's like your final answer?
I think so. I think, yeah, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna commit to that. Lock it in.
Lock it in, okay. Don't ask the audience or anything like that? Phone a friend, see what Zero has to say.
This is where I call my dad to tell him I've won $1 million.
Right, yeah, I remember that guy, right? He did the phone a friend just to tell him that he's gonna win.
Yeah.
That was sick. That was some nice classy moves.
All right, gonna start working his way up here. He sees that Zerg has no other bases, so he knows this is the entire economy of Zerg. So he's gonna be feeling extremely happy, extremely comfortable. The game is more of just kind of going through the motions at this point. You can kind of sit out here and keep trading out against Zerg, but you know, he's got 2+ bases mining at the moment. He knows that Zerg is drying up pretty much.
Yeah, 1 base Zerg versus 3 base Protoss. I mean, you don't have to be a StarCraft expert to know just how bad this is for DuGu right now. It's kind of obvious. We won't spell it out too much, but looks pretty bad here for DuGu. He's probably feeling a bit salty as well, because this was essentially a 1 game, just needed to execute, and he got a little bit complacent and shut down by the counterattack here of QiaoGege. And that's just a testament to this guy's fortitude, man. I love that he just blinked. He just stayed in the game, traded all day long, and eventually found the one little window of opportunity to bring it back, and he's done a fantastic job of it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and I'm actually kind of happy for him, because he basically he gets to save his perfect record so far in this tournament with a very unlikely win, right?
Yes.
And when you have games like that or players like that, it kind of bodes well for the rest of the tournament, that they can show that they're showing that they can fight back from a really bad position to just hold on and kind of show that they deserve to be here and they're one of the best players here.
Yeah, it gives you like the mentality of a champion when you win a game like this, right? Exactly. Like, you feel like you're unstoppable if you can win from these positions, and certainly the spectators will probably agree. It's like Best. Best isn't necessarily really good at PvZ, but he has these crazy comebacks where you think he's completely dead and he still finds these niche win conditions.
Yeah. And yeah, we're just gonna attack the natural because our opponent won't leave.
You should have done this a long time ago, though. I think just sacrifice the third and kill the natural in main, and it's over like 15 minutes ago. But it's okay. We got there in the end, Ozzy.
We did get there eventually. And finally, GG gonna be called here. And QiaoGege gonna hold on to his perfect record, going 2-0 here against DuGu and 2-0 against Dewalt. So a fantastic first day for him.
Yeah, man. I mean, if he keeps this up, he's going to be going through to the finals in the winner bracket. And you don't have to play a lot of games then. You're like straight through to the grand finals after just 2 series. You're feeling pretty fantastic. Yeah,
and here we get to see the scoreboard here, win versus loss. We got 4-0 for QiaoGege, and in second place so far we got XuanXuan at 1-1 for both of his games there. We do have Bonyth versus Mihu, going to be our final